Have you ever wondered how detectives and profilers get inside the mind of a criminal? How they can look at a crime scene and begin to piece together a psychological profile of the perpetrator? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of psychological profiling, a powerful tool used by law enforcement to catch some of the most elusive criminals. From famous cases like Ted Bundy to modern-day investigations, criminal profiling has helped crack some of the most complex cases. But how exactly does it work? First, let's define what psychological profiling actually is. Also known as criminal profiling, it's a technique used by law enforcement agencies to identify the personality traits, behavioral patterns, and even the potential area an offender might strike, all based on the crime they've committed. Essentially, profilers look at everything from the type of crime committed to the way a victim was treated to make educated guesses about who the criminal might be. But contrary to what we see in TV shows, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Profiling is a combination of science, psychology, intuition, and experience. Criminal profiling dates back to the 1970s when the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit began developing what's now known as criminal profiling. The idea was simple: use knowledge of criminal psychology to narrow down suspects. FBI agents like John Douglas and Robert Ressler began studying notorious killers, interviewing them in depth to understand what motivated their crimes. They were among the first to create detailed criminal profiles that helped investigators catch serial offenders. The infamous BTK killer case is just one example where profiling played a crucial role. So how do profilers actually create a psychological profile? It's a multi-step process, and while it's not always perfect, it gives law enforcement valuable insights. First, let's start with crime scene analysis. Profilers start by analyzing the crime scene. Every detail matters. Was the crime chaotic or well organized? Was the victim harmed in a particular way? These clues can tell us about the offender's state of mind, level of planning, and even their relationship with the victim. For example, an organized crime scene often points to an offender who is meticulous, possibly even living a normal life outside of their crimes. A disorganized crime scene, on the other hand, could indicate someone who acted impulsively or under emotional distress. Step 2. Victimology. Here, they look at victimology, or the study of the victim. Understanding why this particular person was targeted helps profilers determine what kind of individual the perpetrator might be. Was the victim selected at random, or did they have a specific connection to the offender? This can point to whether the crime was opportunistic or carefully planned. Step 3. Behavioral patterns. Behavioral patterns come next. Criminals often leave behind signature behaviors and psychological imprints that they repeat across crimes. This is especially true for serial offenders. Ted Bundy, for example, would lure women with his charm before attacking, a signature that profilers used to understand his psychological makeup. By studying these patterns, profilers can begin to predict the offender's next move, helping law enforcement prevent future crimes. Step 4. Building the profile. Once all the evidence is gathered, profilers build a psychological profile. This includes everything from the likely age, gender, social, and financial background of the suspect to their mental state and personality traits. They even try to determine whether the suspect will continue their crimes or stop for a period of time, known as a cooling-off period. Now that we've looked into psychological profiling, let's dive into another fascinating tool used in criminal investigations: geographical profiling. This technique combines behavioral science with geography, helping law enforcement predict where a criminal might live, work, or plan their next crime. Geographical profiling analyzes the locations of crimes to identify patterns in an offender's movements. The goal is to figure out a comfort zone, the areas where an offender feels safe committing their crimes. Profilers study the spatial patterns to estimate where the perpetrator may be based. Serial offenders, in particular, tend to commit crimes within a specific geographic range. This is often referred to as their hunting ground. But here's the twist: they rarely commit crimes close to home, as that would increase their risk of being caught. Yet, they also don't venture too far from familiar areas. Take the case of the infamous railway rapist, John Duffy in the UK. Investigators used geographical profiling to analyze where his attacks occurred and discovered that his crimes formed a pattern around his home and place of work. This insight helped police narrow down their suspect list and eventually capture him. But geographical profiling isn't just about predicting where the offender is now. It can also help determine where they might strike next by identifying high-risk areas within their comfort zone. This gives law enforcement the chance to ramp up surveillance or intervene before another crime occurs. While it may not give an exact address, geographical profiling can narrow the search significantly. As we've seen, criminal profiling has come a long way, from its early days of behavioral analysis to its current use in complex investigations. But where is it headed next? Let's take a look at the future of profiling and how technology is reshaping the way we catch criminals. One of the biggest advancements in the field is the growing use of artificial intelligence and machine learning. These technologies can analyze massive data much faster than humans, allowing investigators to spot patterns in criminal behavior that might otherwise go unnoticed. AI can sift through everything from criminal databases to social media activity, predicting who might be at risk of offending or where future crimes could occur. Artificial intelligence algorithms also significantly helps with what's called predictive profiling. Predictive profiling relies on AI to sift through past crime data and integrate it with environmental and social factors. This drastically helps to narrow down hotspots for future crimes. By connecting these dots, AI can uncover trends and correlations that traditional profiling methods might miss, offering law enforcement a more precise and proactive way to address potential criminal activity. One intriguing development in criminal profiling is the use of behavioral clusters. While traditional profiling focused on individual characteristics of a suspect, AI can now identify patterns of behavior that connect crimes which might otherwise seem unrelated. Beyond behavioral clusters, there's also increasing interest in linguistic profiling. This technique analyzes the words, phrases, and even grammatical structure used by criminals in written communication. With the help of AI, language patterns can now be analyzed more precisely and on a much larger scale. AI algorithms can sift through text to detect subtle nuances in word choice, grammar, and sentence structure, helping pinpoint a suspect's region of origin, education level, or even emotional state. By comparing these linguistic markers against vast datasets, AI can identify patterns that human analysts might miss, making it easier to narrow down suspects based on how they communicate. As promising as these advancements are, we must also recognize the challenges. One of the biggest hurdles is ensuring that these profiling methods don't reinforce biases or lead to false conclusions. After all, a profile is only as good as the data and interpretations behind it. That's why it's crucial for experts to continuously refine these tools, combining the best of technology with a deep understanding of human psychology. So, where does this leave the future of criminal profiling? With the right technological advancements, criminal profiling has the potential to become a cornerstone in modern crime solving. Imagine a future where law enforcement agencies can predict a crime before it happens, using a blend of AI-driven insights and human analysis to intervene and potentially save lives. But to get there, the focus must remain on ethical use, transparency, and continual improvement. No matter how advanced technology becomes, human elements like empathy, intuition, and experience will always play a crucial role. In the end, Criminal profiling isn't about catching criminals faster, it's about understanding them better. It's about using science and technology to shed light on the darkest aspects of human behavior, ultimately working toward a safer society. With these powerful tools at our disposal, we can help law enforcement agencies stay one step ahead, evolving our methods just as criminals evolve theirs. If you found this deep dive into the world of criminal profiling fascinating, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or any ideas for future psychology topics you'd like to see covered. Thanks for watching Psychology Deep Dive, and I'll see you in the next video.